Hem stitching is a way to secure your edges on the loom so that when you take them off they're not going to unravel, and it's also a decorative finish. It's a really nice way to finish scarves, and so we're going to finish our scarf using hem stitching. Now, just to give you a little explanation of the groups that your threads will be divided into and the decisions that you can make for your hem stitching, I've got this scarf here, and it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but when I'm hem stitching, I'm choosing how many warp threads I want to go across and how many weft threads I want to go over or under. So based on your decisions, you're going to end up with little groups of warp threads. So in this one I can see that here there are 3 warp threads. So I went across 3 warp threads there. And if you look in the next group, it's the same. I've got 3 warp threads. So how that translates to our piece, and my favourite grouping for hem stitching is 3 warp threads, 2 weft threads. Don't worry, I'm going to totally explain what this means, and it's so much easier if you can see it in action rather than in written or just me talking about it. But remember, we had our thread from the very beginning that we left long. We're now going to thread that onto a tapestry needle. And when I was talking about grouping the warp threads, it means that I'm going to start by, well, first of all, I'll start by doing a little hitch knot here, or a half hitch on the edge, just to help secure that. Oh, that didn't catch. Okay, secure that edge. And to start with, I will go under 3 warp threads, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to count up 2 weft threads, 1, 2, and I'm going to come out in this space. So can you see what happened just now? I went under the 3 warp threads and up by 2 weft threads and come out between them. Okay, the next step is to go under those warp threads again, like so, and then to give that a little tug, and that's our knot that is going to secure that group of 3 together. Now when you're hem stitching, you can choose your grouping. You might go under 4 warp threads and 3 weft threads, but as I said, for scarves I just like the particular look that it gives when I do 3 warp threads and 2 weft threads. Be aware that if you go right up into your weft threads, then you are going to have a different look. You're probably going to have a bit of a gap running along. That can be a feature for a piece, but just be aware that that's going to be a little bit of a different look the further you go up into the weft. So now we're going to dive down to the back of the work. So that's to the left of the group we just made. And now we can do the exact same with the next. So I'm going to count across 1, 2, 3 warp threads that are there. I'm going at the back of them and I'm coming up 2 weft threads just above there. Then I'm going to go back to where I just came from, and if you get confused and you're not sure where did I just come from, just give this a little tug. See how it kind of shows you where you just came from? It's like, here I am. Come back here. So under those warp threads, pull it through, and a little tug. And then we dive down to the back again, to the left of the group of threads we just did. Okay, so another 3 and then 2 weft threads. You do get fairly quick at this after a while. it feels a bit slow going for a start, like most things in weaving, but you get better at these things very quickly. And there are other more decorative types of hem stitching you can do as well, which we may get into later. Be a good idea, because they're so pretty. And I quite like stitching onto woven pieces because I've got a background in embroidery. And I don't do much embroidery anymore because weaving's kind of taken over, and I have to divide my time and, you know, choose wisely what I'm going to do with my time. But I enjoy the opportunity to get the needle and thread out and either do some hem stitching or do some sort of embellishment or whatever it is, and we'll try and do a bit more of that sometime in the future as well. I've got lots of plans. So working in that same pattern all the way across. And I will show you what we do once we get to the other end. Once we've worked our way right to the other end, we've left with this tail, and I usually just take that tail and thread it through the work a little bit, and then once you wash it you'll be able to cut that tail off at the end. But for now, just thread it through a little bit, and then we can just leave it hanging